Buenos
Pastor
días, don
Jorge.
Mario.
Buenas noches.
Sí, buenos días, buenas noches. Aquí estamos. ¿Qué me cuentas?
Not too much. Se terminó Hanukkah.
Bueno, todavía no, mañana se termina. Hoy ya pusimos la última
Sí, yo sé.
candelita, pero todavía rezamos mañana. Sí, vale la pena.
Ya. Oh, tengo sueño.
Eso está bien.
Muy temprano para ir, pensar nomás de ir a dormir.
¿Sabes qué? Activo tienes. Hoy caminamos un montón con mi señora. Eso es lo que ella quería hacer. Entonces todo salió bien. Estamos, ya vine a la casa y descansando.
¿Caminó mucho?
Sí, caminamos como 4 o 5 millas.
Wow.
Sí.
¿Por dónde? ¿Por el barrio?
Ahí en Beverly Hills nos fuimos y nos pasamos el parque que crearon. Muy bueno.
¿Cuál?
Si vas sobre Santa Mónica, ahí hicieron ese walkway. Muy bonito. A
¿Sí?
mi señora le gustó mucho, ¿sabes por qué? Porque todo está al nivel y estás caminando, en vez del cemento, estás caminando sobre tierra, que es
Oh,
más permisivo para para tu cuerpo, entonces es mejor.
oh, okay. I didn't
La
know
pasé
that.
muy bonito, muy bonito.
Sobre la, sobre la Santa Mónica.
Sí, sí, ahí perfecto.
Mm,
Eso todo salió bien.
ok. ¿Es ahí donde pusieron todas esas banderas de Israel también?
Correcto, correcto, pero caminando hacia North Hollywood, hacia
West
eh,
Hollywood.
West Hollywood. Right.
Mm.
Muy bueno, nos gustó. Oye, mañana era un día un poco frío, entonces tuvimos que hacerlo originalmente con sacos y todo, pero todo buenísimo.
Si de mañana hace mucho frío, no entiendo por qué.
Últimamente ha estado un poco friolento el día.
Ujú.
George, I have your certificate.
I
We'll
know you do, Ernie, and I need to
we'll have
talk with you.
no, we'll have to go to dinner.
We have to definitely do that.
Okay.
Anyway,
Maybe next week.
next week
Oh
I
no,
will be away.
my wife's going to Israel Saturday night.
Oh, she is?
Yeah.
Oh. I am going to Guatemala next week. I'll try.
Nice.
You know what? I like to go regularly because that's where my family is buried. My father and my family. So my uncles are all buried there. So I like to go. This is now over 2 years. So
That
I
you haven't
really
been. That you
that
haven't
I
been.
have not been. You know. So I want to go. I want to go.
Okay. We are on Tes Vav Amud Aleph,
Tet
15.
Vav Amud Aleph.
Right. Well, we're going to be on the bottom of Yud Daled Amud Beis, just a couple of lines. It says Ha'erchin. We said that Erchin is in the Torah. In one of the parshios, it says if somebody makes an erech vow and says, "I want to give my value to the Beis Hamikdash," and he uses the language erech. There's a fixed value. A man is worth 50 shekel. A woman, between a certain age. A woman is worth 40 shekel. A child is worth 10 shekel, whatever. These were mechanisms by which somebody could donate a certain amount to the Beis Hamikdash. So the Mishnah used a strange phraseology, erchen hametaltel, and we didn't know what that is. Amrav Gidlam Arav, but Omer erech kli zeh alai. He says, here's a beautiful table. I want to give the value of this table to the Beis Hamikdash. Amrav Gidlam Arav, Omer erech kli zeh alai noisen dama. You give the value. Now my timer. Now Adam Yodea Shein erech lekli. The Torah, the word erech always refers to the value of a human being. using you have if you want to give the value of a table, you have to use a different language, not erech. And people know that the word erech doesn't apply to a kli. And if someone made such a vow, he must have decided in his mind that what he's doing is giving the value of the table. So the Gemara says, what was this language in the Mishnah? Hai erchin ha-metatlin. Erchin shel metatlin the boy. It means the value of a certain metaltalin item. That's the language that the Mishnah should have used. Tani. So the Gemara answers, yes, we have to amend the Mishnah. Erchin shel metaltalin. Okay. Rav Chizam Ravimi b'matfis metaltalin le'erchin. He gives a different answer. The person made a regular erech vow to give his value, but he didn't have money. So he designated certain kalim that had a certain value to pay that debt. Now, you have to be pointed it for money. That redemption needs 3 dayon. So again, the Gemara says the language of the Mishnah, Hai erchin ha-metatlin, metatlin shalerchin aboyle. Tani metatlin shalerchin. The metatlin that are going to be sold to pay a standard erech vow, that's what the Mishnah is referencing. Rav Avo Omar, b'omer erki alai. That what the Mishnah is talking about is when he said, I want to give my erech. So ba koin ligvos mimenu metatlin. Now let's say the kohen comes to collect, and the guy doesn't have cash, and he wants to collect from various movable items that the guy has in his house. Calculating what each item is worth in order to pay the erech vow has to be done b'shloisha. On the other hand, let's say the guy wants to pay with land, karkos basara. In order to give the value of the land, in order to pay the erech vow, that requires a bezin of 10. I understand if you want to remove something from that belongs to Hegdish by being pointed, you need judges. Because if they made a mistake, it's like me'ila, it's like you're benefiting from Hegdish. Ela le'ilui le'hegdish. But you want to give something to the base of Hegdish. Shloisha lamali. Why do you need dayanim? Just give it. Omar svoru. It's logic. Mali iuli, mali afuki. We're worried about mistakes. It makes no difference whether the mistake is made on the way out or on the way in. Afuki, my time in Dilmatoi. Why do we need dayanim 3 when we're removing items from Hegdish's possession? Because maybe there'll be a mistake made and you're going to do Mila. Well, giving something in the value, etc., if you undervalue or you're over value, you're also going to make a mistake, whether it's going in or going out, you need dayon. Rav Yehuda said that when you have a court, whether it's 3 or 10, one of them has to be a kohen. It says kohen in that parsha of redeeming Hegdish. El Rabbanon, that you need 10 people, you don't need a kohen lamalu. Why was kohen written there? Kasha. It's a kasha on the chacham. So when you're being magdish land, karkos betisha v'kohen. The Mishnah said you need 9 and a kohen. V'nanimili, how do you know this? Amish masar kohanim. It says actually 10 times kohen. Ksuvim b'parsha. One of them lagufe, that you need a kohen. The ha'anach, the other 9 times was mentioned, avimir acharmiyut, that it's you don't need a kohen, and a mirach harmiyut is larabois. So the Chachamim could make this drush of even 9 Jews, regular Jews, and a coin. Maskif law, Ravuna de Rav Nosson, Ema, maybe there's not 10 uses of the word coin. Each one is a mirach or miut. So maybe it should be Chamisha Kohanim, Chamisha Yisrael, 5 Kohanim, and 5 Yisrael. Kasha, that's actually a good kasha. So we said to redeem land, you need 9 and a kohen. Adam kayotzeban. The same thing if you're giving an erech vav of a human being. Adam mikodesh. You can't make a human being hegdish. You can give the value of it. Amra vavohu demei alai. I want to give to the base of Midrash a donation, my value. Now here he didn't use the word erech. So then you don't use the standard amounts, 50 shekel for a man, 40 shekel. You use, if the guy's a neurosurgeon, he's worth $100,000. If he's a gardener, he's worth $10,000. Everybody's worth differently based on what they can sell themselves in the market for. What he would be sold. Now, actually, this standard is not like what I said, neurosurgeon or not. This is actually like a human being who's a laborer. A guy who can lift 500 pounds and work in a field, he's actually more valuable. Because he's an Evet. Boy Ravavim. Seyar. Somebody donated the value of a human being's hair to the base of Mikdash. And it's long hair, and oimed ligzos, and it's ready to have a haircut. So bekama. How do you do this valuation? Because remember, if it's metal talin, a bezin is only 3. If it's karka, or if it's, we said the value, when you do valuations of a human being, you need 10. So is the hair viewed as if it's still on, because it's connected to him still, hasn't been cut, so maybe we need a bezin of 10. Or do we use the principle of ha'oimed legazus kagazus dami? We have this principle, for example, in wheat in the fields, ready to be cut. There also, we view the wheat as if it's been cut. Here also, hair that is long, ready to go get a haircut, we view it as if it's been cut already. So the question is, do we need a bezin of 3 or a bezin of 10? Toshma. Amadish says, Avdo, somebody donated his evet to the base of Mikdash. Ein mo'alim bo. There's no me'il if you use them because there's no kedusha saguf. There's kedusha's dami, there's monetary value, but only an animal can be invested with physical kedusha, where you then put him on a mizbeach and shecht him. A human being cannot be invested in kedusha saguf. He made a distinction regarding his hair. The kaimalon, we established the besaro amid ligzos pligi. We're talking about a hair that is ready to be taking a haircut. So they're arguing in this issue of how do you view the hair? Is it views it still on the person or not? Shmami no. It's a good proof. Name ani tanoi kani tanoi. Let us just say that this Tana Kam and Rav Shimon Gamliel are arguing in a similar way as the other machlokas tanoi. It's not. Rav Meir Yesh Dvarim Shenke Karka Venike Karka. There are some items that are viewed as land and some not as land. Vein chachamim moedim lo, and the chachamim don't agree. Ketzah, Eser kefanim to unos mosaydlach. Person says to his friend, "I sold you 10 vines full of grapes, and I need my money. You haven't paid me. V'alo imer einon ela chamesh. But you only sold me 5, so he's moide b'miktzas. He's not denying the whole thing, but he's denying half of it. So Rab Meir Mechayev as Shvua, because he's like a moide b'miktzas. However, Chachamim kol ha'mechuber l'karka reo kekarka. You don't take a Shvu on land. And since these grapes are still connected to the vines, we view them as still karka. Rameir is obviously viewing them as detached because they're ready to be cut. Right? We're talking about grapes ready to be cut. Mar Savar Kibzuras Tamya. Rameir holds their view, even though they're physically not cut yet, we view them as if they're cut. If they're cut, they're like metaltalin. If I claim that you owe me something and you deny on metaltalin, part of it, you have to take a shvua. Umar Savar Lav Kibzuras Tamya. No, since they're still connected to the vine, they're connected to the ground, and it's like karka. You don't take a shvua on karka. Where's this low? We don't say that the machlokas that we talked about above of being magdish your eved, and Rav Shimon Gamliel argued that it's the same machlokas. Filu Temer Rab Meir. Ad Kulakam Rab Meir Hasam. Over there, Rab Meir, by the grapes, Shekol Deshav Kilu Achish Kakshi. The longer you leave the grapes, they get worse. So therefore, now that there is at this stage, you view them as now they're ideally ready to be cut. Hair is the opposite. The longer you leave hair on somebody, you get longer and longer, they're more valuable. So there, maybe we don't say it's as if it's kagozus. Okay. So then we said din and nefashos, adjudicating capital crimes, you need 23. And bestiality, an animal penetrates either a female or a male. That's called roveya. Nirba means the person, either the man or the woman who is on the receiving end of the animal. So koposik v'tani, it didn't make a difference. Loishna par roveya zachar, a male cow that penetrates the anus of a male, penetrative intercourse to a male. Veloshna par harovea nekeva, or a male cow that penetrates a female in either orifice, because it's penetrative. So bishlama harovea nekeva, the animal who's having relations with the female. So that I understand, because the pasuk says, "Isha asher tikrav al kol beima l'riva ota." A woman who comes close to an animal to allow the animal to have relations with her. V'harabto es ha'isha v'esa behemo. The pasuk says you shall kill the woman and the man. Ella harivesa zachar minallah. The ox, the male ox that has penetrative relations with a male, where do we see that the animal gets killed too? D'chsiv kol shochev im beima mas yumas. Whoever sleeps with that now, imenu in l'shochev. For example, shochev means the male penetrated the animal. So we have a pasuk for that already, kol shochev im beima. So if we don't need that, stay in the nishkav. So now we know that the animal is also killed if the male was passive. It's not just if the male does an action, but even if the animal did the action. Any sexual contact between the animal and a human being leads to its death. So the human being also, it makes no difference whether he is the active agent or the receiving agent. Just like if he rapes the animal, he is killed and the behemoth is killed, and you need esrim v'shloisha. Af nishkav, if he was on the receiving end by the animal, hu be'emto b'esrim v'shloisha. He and the animal are killed with 23 dayon. Then shor niskal b'esrim v'shloisha. You have an ox that gored and killed a human being. The ox was killed. It says v'gamba ashor yisakel v'gamba lav yuma. K'misas habaylim kach misas ashor. Just like when you adjudicate capital punishment for a man, you need 23. So too, when you adjudicate if you're going to kill the animal, you need 23. Amr Abai L'Rava, Mimai Dahai, V'gam balav yumas l'chamisas bailim kach mitzvahs hashodah. So who says that word v'gam balav yumas, that the owner is put to death, comes to teach me that the way you adjudicate a human is the way you adjudicate an animal? Maybe, maybe, when a person's ox kills somebody, maybe he has to be put to death too. In Cain, that that the bailim of the ox are put to death, lichtov, the Torah should have written, hashor yisakel v'gam ba'alav. The ox is stoned and its owner. Velishtik. What do you mean v'gam ba'alav yumat? To teach me what the drasha we just learned. So Abaye says no. If the Torah would have just written hashor yisakel v'gam ba'alav, hava mina biskila, that maybe both get killed through stoning, the animal and the person. Mora says that doesn't make any sense. Biskila salgadait, kotel iu b'sayif. Let's say a human being murders another human being. He is put to death, but he's put to death with the sword. So the worst, which means having your head cut off with a sword, the worst punishment is skila. The second worst is sreifa, where you drink molten lead. The third worst is sayif, where your head is cut off. The easiest death is chenek. They kill you through garroting. They put you behind a stick, they put a rope around you, and then they turn the stick until they choke you. So in kotel iu b'sayif. So you're gonna, and he actually did the killing. Here, the ox is his asset, financial asset, mamona, and he's going to be killed with skila? That doesn't make sense. That he is put to death, to make it easy. La fuke misayev techenek. Maybe it comes to say that you should give him the easiest death, the chenek. Because if, as a murderer, he's killed with the sword, if only his asset killed, he should be given an easier punishment. So it doesn't work according to the one that says being choked is a worse punishment. But lemando merchenek kill, we have that could be a havamin. Lo sakitite. We still don't accept the concept that the owner of the shore is killed, because it says, "Im koifer yusha salav, v'nasan pidyon nashok chol asher yusha salav." That the owner of the ox pays a monetary fine, which is like a redemption for his life. Now, if you're going to tell me that he's put to death, like the animal, a murderer can't get off of the capital punishment by giving money. Therefore, the one that you do accept koifer from, meaning the owner of a shor and iskal, would not be put to death. The Gemara says, "Ade Rabba pumfakir mishum hi gufa." We could say kotel iu. If he kills a human being, lo tizkele b'mamona lebektola. There's no way of dealing with it except putting him to death. He can't get his way out by giving money. But kotel shoyra. But if his ox killed, lifrak nafshe b'mamona, let him redeem himself with money. But if he didn't have the money, he has to be killed. So the psukim don't seem to be clear one way or the other. So Amr Chizkiah, V'chein Tonad V'Chizkiah, Amr Kra, Mos Yumas HaMakeh Rotzechu. When it comes to murdering a human being, you have to put him to death. He's a rotzeh. Al ritzichoso atahorgo. V'i atahorgo al ritzichas shari. You kill a murderer because he killed, but you don't kill him if his ox killed. Iboiluhu. Shor Sinai Bekama. Now, we were told at the time of Matan Torah, Lo Siga Boyad, Hisakol Yaker Yeray Yerem Beimai Mishlochya. You were not allowed to touch Har Sinai, not a human being, not an animal, on the pain of skila. So how many judges did you need to adjudicate that? Did you need 23? Mi Gomer Hoy Rosh Shalu Doirois. Now, that was a temporary law for that generation only. Now, this law of a shore on this skull is forever. So maybe, do we learn Hoy Rosh Shalu Doirois? Oh, no, Toshma, the Tani Rabbi Yechezkel, in Beimai Mishlo Yichye, Ma Ish Besem Mishlosh, Av Beima Besem Mishlosh. The halacha is, at the time of Matan Torah, they adjudicated with 23. Amrish Lakish. Harivazeh, the lion, the wolf, you also have to adjudicate their death with 23. Amrish Lakish. Vuhu She'emis or we're talking about the lion killed a person. Avaloy Misalo. You don't put the animal to death if you didn't kill. Al Maksavar, Yeshlen Tarbus, you can domesticate these animals. And therefore they Yeshlen Bailing. You can't just kill them. But Rav Yochanan Omar, Aval Pishloy Misa. No, you kill them even if they didn't kill a human being. Al Maksavar, Elem Tarbus, they cannot be domesticated. Elem Bailing. It's not Rav Eliezer Melko, Kodem Organ Zocha. Well, whoever kills them first gets a schus, like a lion or a wolf. It means he gets to get their hide. They have no owners. Whoever gets it first gets it. Whoever kills them first gets the hide. But according to Reish Lakish, that they have bailim, you kill somebody's hat. What are these zoicha? Kivan shemis or shavinu rabbonin command gomer tinayu. It's as if they were adjudicated in Besdin. And just like a Shor Niskal, even before they finished his din, you cannot, it's Asr Bana. So also these things are Yisrael Anonu. You can't benefit from their flesh or from their skins. So Reish Lakish says, my Zacha l'shamayim. Then he did a mitzvah by getting rid of a dangerous thing, a lion running around. Tani kavosed Reish Lakish, echad shor she'emis v'echad be'em avachaya, she'emiso dina beser mishloisha. A shore or another animal that kills, you adjudicate them with 23. Rabbi Eliezer Oimar, shor she'emis beser mishloisha. An ox that kills needs 23. You don't need to adjudicate them, and whoever kills them, Kodesh Baruch Hu gives them to you from heaven. But they have to kill somebody. Rabbi Kiva Oimer, that you put them to death with 23. Well, that's the same as the Tanakama. Rabbi Kiva had a Tanakama. Ikbinayu nachash, a snake. According to the Tanakama, even a snake is adjudicated with 23. And Rabbi Kiva says no. Then we said, Ein Donin. If you're going to adjudicate a whole shevet, you need 71. Now, Hai Shevet Echad. How did this shevet sin? Ilema Shevet Shecholos HaShabbos. The whole shevet violated Shabbos. Eimer de Polig Rachmonot Bein Yechidim Lemerubin. When did the Torah say that there's a difference between a Yochid and a Tzibur Linya Avodah Zarah? For example, a whole city worships Avodah, it's treated like an Irani Dachas, versus a private person is treated differently. But Bashar mitzvahs, Shabbos, Kashrus, other mitzvahs, Mi Pligi, do we make a distinction between the singular person and the Rabbim? Ela b'shevet shahoida. We're talking about a shevet that worshipped Avodah Zarah. L'meimer de bedina de Rabbim dainulei. So are they adjudicated in some kind of din for the public? So Keman, there's a machloikas about Irani Dachas, Lok Rabbi Yoshiv, Lok Rabbi Yonasan, the Tanya. How many people do you need in order for it to be considered an Irani Dachas. Ad Kam Irani Dachas. Me'asor vad mea, very specific, from 10 to 100 people in the city. Different issue. Rav Yonasan Oimer, Mea vad ruva shel shevet, from 100 until 51% of the shevet. And that's the machlokas, what's considered an Ir. I feel Rav Yonasan l'ka'omar, Elad Rubo. It has to be up until the majority. But Kulo, if it was the whole shevet, it would not be a Yerni Dachas. Okay. Very interesting material tonight. Okay, so we will learn the Tsorba in a half hour, and we will learn tomorrow at 7 o'clock, the Daf Yomi.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Happy New Year to everybody.
Happy New
Happy-
Secular